Thank you, everybody. This is the regular meeting of City Council of Trinidad, Colorado. It's on Wednesday, November 5th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers at City Hall, 135 North Anima Street, Trinidad, Colorado. Les, would you mind leading us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. If you're in person, which I think everybody is, please turn off cell phones, be respectful, take personal conversations into the lobby area. The following items are on file for consideration of council. Item 1, roll call, please.
DeBono.
Here.
Shu.
Here.
Thurman.
Here.
Trahell.
Here.
Ogletree. Here. Williamson.
Here.
Griego.
Before I move on to item 2, I just again mention that Mayor Griego regrets not being able to be here, and in her absence I will attempt to perform this duty, so thank you for your patience. Item 2, approval of the agenda. I need a motion. Oh, I appreciate that. I was going to move right through that, I think. Is there any, anyone have any changes to the agenda before I ask for a motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Ogletree and Shu, vote.
DeBono.
Yes.
Shu.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes.
Trahell.
Yes.
Ogletree.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes. Item 3, policy items and staff reports.
We have none tonight, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Item 4, petitions or communications oral written. The public section offers an opportunity for any citizen to express opinions or ask questions regarding city services, policies, or other matters of community concern. Any agenda items that are not part of the scheduled public hearings. Citizens will have 5 minutes for comments. This time limit was established to provide efficiency in the conduct of the meeting and to allow equal opportunity for everyone wishing to speak. An immediate response should not be expected, as issues are typically referred to the city staff for follow-up or research, and they are then reported back to council and the individual who initiated the comment or inquiry. Written materials for presentation to council must be submitted to the city clerk as the speaker approaches the podium. We have 3 people wishing to address city council tonight. The first is Patty Fink, and there is no listed topic. Patty?
I apologize, I didn't read it, I just signed in, it said
Oh.
sign in, so I didn't.
you have 5 minutes now if you want.
Oh, I'm new, I didn't know, I'll be here next time.
Okay. Sincerely, thank you for being here.
I can, but I won't.
Tim Peters?
Okay. I can talk.
No topic.
No talk. You guys, I'm Tim Peters, you know me. First of all, I want to thank you guys. Now that I'm entering a new stage in my life, the 4 years or 6 years or whatever you guys have put here serving Trinidad, we appreciate it. It's a lot of time. I'm looking at it now going, oh my gosh, 4 years. But anyway, what I want to talk to you about is the 2024 building code. I watched a video of the planning and zoning meeting the other day, and as being contractors and all my subcontractors, we are very concerned with the cost this is going to add on to our jobs. It's an absolute job killer if we comply with everything they want in this code. I don't know how familiar you guys are with it, with what these changes are going to entail, but being a contractor, I have my electrical contractors out there, my heat and air contractors, we're all talking about, we're trying to figure out what this is going to do. Today on my job, I even had a state electrical inspector. So we cornered him and we said, hey, what is this? What is going to be this? He didn't even know. So I heard that there was a meeting through the video that I watched. And I looked at all my friends and said, were you invited? No, and all the leading contractors and leaders in the community were not invited, didn't know anything about it. I know that there's 12 counties, maybe more, have signed on that are filing suit against the state, and it's all the rural ones. You know, the big cities, maybe they can adopt and have all this extra cost. We're kind of a poor community, you know that. It's absolutely going to kill jobs. For example, without getting into the weeds, you know, I was talking to my electrician yesterday, and on the average house we do, he's saying 15,000, 20,000 more to comply with all these the electrical code changes. We talked about everything that we got to do. We got to design houses now with a certain amount of square footage facing south so they can put future panels in. The current house I'm on right now, we got to put an EV receptacle in. And it's like, well, they don't want it. Homeowners don't want it. They don't want to pay for it. Building houses is so expensive right now, it is crazy. There's no such thing as affordable housing. And if we just take a knee and we adopt this without looking at some items that we might not want to comply with, I don't know how that's all going to work. But please be aware this is coming down the pipe real fast, and it's probably going to add $40,000 to the average $405,000, $500,000 house that we build. So, you know, what are we going to do? You know, we've got a plan. We've been talking about a plan to refurbish some of these old abandoned houses that are just junk that need to be pretty much torn down. Well, if you adopt the 2024, that just takes that program $50,000 more expensive right off the bat. Right off the bat. So, you know, if you don't want an EV, it doesn't matter. You got to pay for it. For example, just a little example, if you put a gas range in, well, now you're going to have to put an electrical plug there, even if you have a gas range, even if you don't want electrical. It's the code, and we got to comply with it. So now we're going to get bigger panels. So we got a 200, 300 amp panel. Now with these rules and regulations, just for future accommodation, we're going to have to jump up to 300 amp panels, things like that. Where it's also going to come and it's going to hit the city of Trinidad when they're feeding these panels, right? It's not the same old thing. It's just, if you look into it, it's kind of scary. So other than that, I don't know where I'm at, but please keep this in mind. Don't hurry through this. Let us have a meeting with all the professionals in town, please. And that's all we're asking. You guys will learn more about it. We'll learn more about it. Because when a state electrical inspector doesn't know how to answer my questions, I'm like, well, whatever. But anyway, I think you guys got the point. Thank you. Have a good night. Thank you. Everybody, have a good night.
The last person signed up is David Sampson. His topic is the food pantry.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I don't want to not talk about ugly stuff, but we also talk about good stuff. So, in light of all the issues with food insecurity that we're having in the entire country right now, we did a mobile food pantry last month, and it went very well. We served 33 families, which included 60 members of the community. But in all the information about SNAP benefits, we've had a huge increase in calls about the one that's coming up on Friday. So I just want to make you guys aware, to tell everyone that we're going to be at the fairgrounds at 10. I have flyers. Again, if you guys need new ones, the flyer is good for October, November, December. We're doing it first Fridays. And just to kind of give you guys an idea, we had our mobile food pantry up in Pueblo at our Mount Carmel Veteran Service Center up there, and my boss sent me the numbers, and I'll just read some of this to you guys. We served 195 households up there, 60 new families. In total, it was 486 individuals that received food. 53 of them were new, and 19% of those people were veterans. So just to give you an idea, last month they had 330, so their numbers jumped a significant amount. So we anticipate ours are going to jump as well, but we're going to be out there ready to help the community. And if you have anybody ask any questions, it's super simple. You just show up, park your car, bring 2 shopping bags. We have a couple iPads. We gather just basic data. And even if they want to be anonymous, they can be anonymous. We're just counting numbers. So let them know that's all there is. You don't have to register, pre-register, qualify. We don't ask anything about income or anything. So anyway, that's all I have.
Thank you.
And I know Eli's been helping us with the radio ads, so you guys have a good evening.
Thank you, too.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 5, council reports. Would you like to start?
Nothing. Seniors are good, and I can always get a sign-up list, but it's that time of year again for the senior nut sale. So if you're wanting to get pecans, walnuts, praline pecans, cashews, mixed nuts, our seniors, it's a great fundraiser for them. So stop by the senior center, sign up to purchase a bag. They're $11 a bag, obviously 22 for 2 bags. So, but if you get a chance, it is a great fundraiser for our seniors. It helps their activities, and they would really appreciate you signing up. So stop on by the senior center.
The only thing we have is, I didn't get a chance to go down to the opera meeting because we had some kind of emergency. And me and Tara did sit with David and Linda and went over what went on down the meeting and that. And there's really not a lot. They're getting the budget done, which would be finished December 4th. And there's a few items, but they were on the executive agenda. So as soon as that gets straightened out, we'll bring that to you.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Well, the Los Angeles County Veterans Council, Mr. Sampson already touched on that with the EM mobile food pantry that's going to happen at the Los Angeles County Fairgrounds. There is a Veterans Dinner Tuesday, November 11th across the street at Sebastiani Gym. The doors open at 10:30, and it's for veterans and spouses and friends. And possibly the Fort Carson Color Guard will be there like they are every year. There's another dinner next Saturday night at Mount Carmel Wellness and Community Center. That's a Thanksgiving Veterans Dinner for veterans and their families, and that's going to be at 5:30 on Saturday in the Garden Room at Mount Carmel. So, and that's the report for the veterans.
Thank you.
It's been sweet watching this community step up to help with food issues lately, and Zion's Lutheran Church where I attend, doing their Thanksgiving meal again. And all you need to do to get a Thanksgiving meal is reach out to the church, and they'll put you on a list, and you can have it delivered to you, or you can come and have it at the church. And then we also have a 5 Loaves ministry that delivers food to people on the last Saturday of the month. So it warms my heart that we're working on this together, and that's a good thing. The Creative District didn't meet this week, so I don't have a meeting to report about, but I also just want to slip in welcome and congratulations to you all who were successful in your campaigns.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things here. Last week I had the honor of attending a small get-together at Tequila's for Officer Mike Tohanovich, and I definitely want to mention that this evening. He did just an incredible job through a much longer period of time than would be expected of him, acting as the interim police chief. And I wanted to thank you, Tara, for the wonderful presentation you gave him. I think that was heartfelt, genuine, right on point. So thank you so much. Then, sorry, all my days are running together. I believe it was yesterday. Attended the swearing in of our new chief of police, Tracy Rolls, and thank you so much for stepping forward into that role, and we look forward to the police department under your leadership. Past that, I want to give the police department councils thank you for the work that they did during that time. Transition periods are never easy, and I think from our vantage point, it was flawlessly executed. So the police department as a whole deserves public recognition. So thank you so much for that. I want to offer my congratulations, potentially some condolences for the newly elected officials. Obviously, without people running for city government, it's problematic, and it was heartening to see how many people were interested in running, and so congratulations to those that won. We're looking forward to working with you, those of us that will be left. And lastly, and I think this is, it speaks to the desire of the Trinidad population to move forward. It's the commitment that was shown in this, I think, is important to recognize, and as I'm sure we all are on this city side of things, especially on this side of this wooden device here. I'm so grateful that the city capital improvement tax passed, and it passed into a permanent situation. That was always such a tenuous position, wondering the next time it was coming up, and so that's really something that's just going to be so beneficial, and we really need to look forward to using that wisely in the future. So that is my comments, and we'll continue on with the meeting. So item 6 is a consent agenda approval. Consent agenda can be adopted by a simple motion. The consent agenda will be read aloud prior to a vote on the motion. Any consent agenda item may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of a council member for individual consideration. 3 items. A, approval of the regular meeting minutes of October 21, 2025, and special meeting minutes of October 27, 2025. Approval of the bills in the amount of $1,442,038.57, and approval of payroll October 25, 2025 through November 7, 2025 in the amount of $461,664.90. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Manning and Shu. And a vote?
DeBono,
Yes?
Shu,
Yes.
Thurman,
Yes.
Trahell,
Yes.
Ogletree,
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes. Item 7, public hearings, none. Item 8, unfinished business, none. That's nice. Item 9, miscellaneous business. Item 8, consideration of extended term of amendment to the agreement with Dayforce for payroll processing with the addition of the time and attendance module and time clocks. Who's presenting that? Ms. Marshall?
Ms. Cassie Coleman will be coming forward from our HR department to present.
Thank you.
Hello, council. Thank you for your time today.
Welcome.
So, whenever I came on, I noticed pretty quickly that payroll systems are a bit antiquated within the city. We still have manual punch clocks at a lot of our locations, and it makes researching materials pretty difficult. So I've been in talks with Tara, and we've talked with Dayforce, who we currently use for payroll, to expand our processes there. Right now, we use it for payroll, and we have manual entry of all employees' times for the entire city. What we're looking at doing is adding time and attendance, which is completely part of their software program. We just weren't subscribed to that portion of it. With this, we would be able to show schedules for each individual. They can request time within the system and view their account or accruals balances for sick and vacation time. It's also going to really streamline our payroll processes. At the end of our biweekly pay periods, currently the process is that managers or foremen are then collecting the time cards, manually adding up the amounts, and then giving it to their directors for approval. It's sometime at this point, sometimes what happens is we realize, oh, they took a sick day and they didn't have the sick leave, or things like that pop up, which require us to do additional work. once it's submitted to our payroll clerks, it takes a couple of days for those clerks to enter all of the material and make sure that we are set. So by expanding our subscription within Dayforce, they would be clocking in and out through a Dayforce portal or a time clock in some cases, and it would all be live. So at the end of that pay period, the managers are just reviewing, making sure that we didn't miss a clock out or clock in, and then clicking approve. It's definitely going to streamline our process, make sure that we are in compliance for all labor laws, and just make it a little bit more user-friendly for the employees as well. So in order to do this, there is a one-time implementation cost. It's $28,718.71. That's so that we can set up all of those different schedules by department. It would be some 20-odd different schedules that are getting created within there. The training process for that, as they kind of hold our hands to build that program out. And then there's a reoccurring annual cost of $17,203.20 for the hardware subscription. What questions do you guys have?
Any questions?
No questions. No, I just see it as streamlining, and that will be saving in the long run in time on what we're doing now, and moving forward helps with accountability all the way across.
Absolutely, there's definitely that accountability and compliance piece.
So I appreciate you doing all the work to put this together. Thank you.
Yeah, no questions.
So, a software program that needs manual attention?
So currently, it needs a lot of manual attention because we're not clocking in and out of that. They're taking their physical time cards and having to add it all up and then key in payroll that way right now. This is going to be a way where they can clock in and out, and it just automatically uploads to the payroll cycle. So at the end of that 2 weeks, they're just reviewing it and hitting accept. Did I understand your question correctly?
I think so.
Yes.
Will it eliminate payroll clerks or any work that they do?
It will definitely free up some time on their hands, but not completely. These girls do a lot more than just the payroll cycle. That's all.
So I have a couple of questions, and if an acceptable answer is, we can get back to that, so don't feel that you have to
Okay.
provide an answer on the spot. So what are the collection points for this system?
You mean as far as time clocks?
Yeah.
So we've identified 8 different places that would be actual time clocks. Those could be set up for biometric readers as well. Those are jobs that aren't in front of computers. Most of the other locations will have either a shared computer where they can log in that way, or it would be the individual's computer that they're clocking in and out of.
Do you know, I've been places where employees have clock in on their phone. Is that going to be the case?
We're going to steer away from that for the most part. However, there are safety.
Geofencing?
Yep.
Okay.
Geofencing can come into play. I think the only areas that we've identified we might utilize that is for employees who are starting their days in different locations on a regular basis, or for the guys that get called out in emergency situations, we could put the app on the emergency call phone. That way they can clock in. It does take their GPS coordinates, so you make sure that they're not.
I have the utmost
Looking in while I
faith
eat
in
breakfast
our
or whatever.
workforce, but it's good due diligence to ask. And then I really think with the ongoing cost, especially if you consider the 28,000 is just the cost to get in, with the ongoing, I would certainly think the time saved with every manager, payroll clerks. I mean, well, it would probably be hard to calculate that and actually prove it empirically. I think it's going, we're definitely moving in a step in the right direction, so thank you for the work that you've done. I have no further questions. Any remaining?
I would just add that the ongoing cost is budgeted for next year
Okay.
in the city manager's line item outside contract services. So we've already planned for the ongoing cost for 2026. The setup fees will come out of this year.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion for item 9A.
So moved.
Second?
Trujillo and Shu, the vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes. Consideration, item B, consideration of approval of a contract with JMS Home Comfort Experts LLC for project number 03-2025, adding heat to fire station number 2. All right, Mr. Mason presenting that presentation.
Mr. Mason's coming forward, but I would just add before his presentation that I met with the fire department at this location last week. I think we started our meeting about 6:50 in the morning and finished about 9:20. It was 61 degrees the entire time that we met in that fire station. So I will just preface Mr. Mason's presentation with that. We all had our gloves and coats on, sitting around their kitchen table. Yes.
Yeah, so this is a project to get some heat installed into fire station number 2. In beginning of October, the development services team put together a request for bids for adding heat. That includes heat inside the fire station as well as adding heat to the bay. Currently, it's not functioning right. The heat in the the separate part, I don't know exactly, the office, the living quarters area, and then the bay doesn't have heat at all. So that's totally malfunctioned, the radiator heat there. So this will be adding 5 mini splits into the office, residential, or living quarters area, and then adding a shop heater into the engine bay. And then they'll reconfigure the boiler. Because it's tied in, they'll reconfigure it to make sure it continues its use, heating water, but then they'll abandon the radiant system in the engine bay. We received 2 bids. We did a walkthrough as people needed. I think we did 3 or 4 walkthroughs. We only received 2 bids. One from GMS Home Comfort Experts for $57,000. The other was from BTA Sheet Metal for $72,899. JMS Home Comfort's out of Pueblo Springs. I think their office is in Springs, but all the guys are from Pueblo. And then BTA Sheet Metal's from Raton. Yeah, we went through the bid process. Need to get these guys heat, and obviously it's comfort, it's efficiency, it's everything like that. Making sure the truck's can be sitting in the engine bay cold when it has to get up and go. So just trying to get it done before winter. That's all I have.
Any questions?
How long has it not been functioning?
I know it's been on the list since I think it started becoming an issue last winter. So yeah, one of those things where trying to get these projects out, and this is one that we definitely need to get out before it gets too dang cold.
No, I think the only issue there if we're doing that is when they added the extra bay on there. Because when I worked there, it was very efficient with heat and that, but adding that extra bay and then not having the heating, that makes a difference. So yeah, they would definitely need to do that upgrade.
It seems cheaper than a boiler because those boilers are, I'm assuming that's a massive boiler that's in there.
Yeah, and to be honest, my team usually handled the walkthrough, and the fire chief. I was half expecting the fire chief. I forgot. Right, I didn't know he was out today, but yeah. So I don't know exactly the size of the boiler. I know they're expensive, and the mini splits are very common now as far as getting heat into buildings.
This seems like a more reasonable way to go and a quicker fix to get it in and going.
Yeah, and I'll say this company, we didn't really work with them until like September, and then ever since then they've been pulling permit after permit down here, which is very good, and they've our building inspector's been really impressed with their work. They do really good work, so I'm pretty confident they'll do a really good job for us.
Thank you.
Is there any insulation in that building? Does it need any? I saw your face just now.
Yeah, it's a tough question, because I didn't do the walkthroughs.
So you don't know?
I don't know. I'm sure, and I'll have the building inspector and the fire chief. Maybe I'll have the fire chief report back on that one, because I don't know, and he would know off the top of his head.
Nick, I suspect this is not something you have just right available right now, but do you know that mini split system, is that something that's commercially rated, or is that an residential unit?
Well, I think it's commercially rated. Yeah, it's for a commercial building. So when you have those 5 splits, it should be in that commercial zone instead
Okay,
of a
just,
single or double. Then you usually look at residential, but when you get more 3 or 4, they start pushing into commercial.
Because I mean, I was astounded at the at the price, $48,500 for 5 head unit. That's not a deal. That's a steal. So I would say as long as that's a commercial unit and they're willing to stand behind their implied 10-year warranty on parts and 2 on workmanship, I think that's a really good deal. I have, so that warranty, we do have something that we can hold them enforced with that?
Yeah, we'll hold to the warranty, and we'll definitely. Now that I've been here for the last couple of years, I'll be more. I don't know if we've always capitalized on our warranty when it comes to the building maintenance, especially since I've been starting to get into it. So that's something we'll hold near and dear because these chemical systems do start to malfunction and there's issues. So that does happen, but hopefully it doesn't. But we'll hold on to that warranty.
Okay, thank you. The last question I had is this in the current budget conceptualized, or okay, it is?
It is. So two comments to Councilmember Thurman. This is one of our historic buildings, and we will be doing a historic structural assessment. The building is well insulated with the exception of the historic windows, which will probably have to be addressed. And if we're getting infiltration of cold air, it's likely through those.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because
the historic
with the number to justify the heating. If you didn't do insulation, so I didn't want to know, did you want to?
Yeah, the historic structural assessment will point those out. And then, yes, this is in the budget for this year. I also want to point out that Mr. Mason brought forward the building improvement plan recently in a work session, which looked at all of our city buildings and the proposed projects that we want to do, and this is the first one coming forward out of that. We are able to get it done in this year's budget. We'll be talking about the rest of those projects next Monday at the work session for the next year's CIP budget. Does that answer your question?
It does, thank you.
Okay.
All right, I will entertain a motion for item 9B.
So moved.
Second, for Shu and DeBono. Vote?
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item C. First reading of an ordinance correcting real property records of property known as Filing 5, Cityview Heights subdivision, and setting a public hearing at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025, for the consideration of said ordinance.
Just so everyone know, Michael, you're
Michael, you're
I always say this when I'm up here, is like I thought I saw everything in my career, and then I get something like this again. So I'm going to try to explain both ordinances as in one explanation, and then if I need to come back for the second ordinance, item D, I will, because they're basically the same thing. They just do 2 separate things. So the MARC project is a low-income housing tax credit project, and I will say that those projects receive a very high level of scrutiny around every kind of report, title work, title insurance, anything you can think of. And what has occurred is that a previous assessor, when Filing 5 came forward, there was a plat created but was never executed that would have platted the lots on one side of the road and the lots on the other, and would have created Rosita Avenue, which would have been dedicated to the city. what happened is, from my understanding and looking back, is that the assessor at the time took that legal description and assigned it to the tax records of the property. So the property reads as a lot and block description instead of a meet and bounds description of an unsubdivided parcel. In fact, the previous owner has even said that the tax assessments came back on individual lots, and she was successful in having that reversed. But unfortunately, because they issued tax certificates and that lot and block description was created, the title work and how it was transferred has this ambiguity that Rosita Avenue might have been dedicated at some point, or the city might have had some type of ownership because of the way the taxing occurred, that could cause an issue for the tax credit title work. So that's a long explanation to explain that basically at some point the legal description was altered by the county assessor, not by the property owner, because at the time she never filed the plat for filing 5. But the biggest issue being is that the state and the federal tax compliance want to ensure that the city doesn't own Rosita, the Rosita Avenue way. So what we will be doing with the first ordinance is quit claiming any right that the city may or may not have had. And the ordinance is very explicit that the city never approved filing 5 and never accepted Rosita Avenue. So we're just quit claiming any potential interest that we could have had or assumed interest we could have because of the tax records. So that's the first ordinance. The second one is a easement back to the developer. So filing 3, which is, so this gets really confusing because North Avenue is on the south side of the site, right? What's the? Camillus, thank you. Camillus on the north side of the site. In filing 3, the developer, we actually went back through the subdivision improvement agreements, I think it was in 2003. The developer constructed the access, put in put in power, lights, water, and including a sewer stub connection which went out of the street into the property. And then the city maintained that for over 18 years, which is a statutory period for to have a perpetual easement. Thank you. Under statute. Filing 3 even has, if you go into filing 3, you can even see, and today, if you go out there, you'll see that the current access, the curb cuts, everything are in place. Because of the way this was all platted, there's basically a void, which is a no man's land area between the edge of their actual property and where city right-of-way starts. We need to also grant a basically utility and access easement to the utilities. And really what that is doing is just giving, it's basically a will, it's a very sophisticated will serve letter is how I would describe this. But again, because of the level of scrutiny that this project gets from the federal tax compliance, they're wanting to see that because again of this, because we're claiming that Rosita Way was never platted. Then they're saying, well, if it was never platted, does this property have the right to access off of Camillus? One last important detail is that the city is requiring basically the developer to install, it's not a public street, but the access for the project from both north and from Camillus, because it's over 350 feet, which is required under the IFC to have 2 emergency accesses, or 2 accesses into the property. So that is required by code. So that's another reason why we couldn't just simply not just have access from North Avenue. We also have to, so this is where it gets confusing, we need the access on the north from Camillus to provide that. So what this is doing is really, again, it's cleaning up title to make sure there's no confusion that the city accepted Rosita Way because of the assessors basically creating a legal description of something that was never filed. And 2, granting a utility access so that the project can A, have emergency access, and B, also connect to water and sewer, which was all done. The other, last thing I will just say is that we're looping the water line through there. So the water line, that will also ensure pressure and actually help the water system. So that's another thing, another reason that we want to see this utility access approved tonight, so.
All
I
right.
know that's confusing, so it was very confusing for me for a while.
Any questions?
Who figured all this out?
Well, so luckily, the developer's attorney, the title attorney, is very sophisticated. But it took, I will say, I give Mr. Mason a lot of credit for digging through and combing through all of the subdivision agreements. And then I also combed through and read all of those set agreements again, so. And then just create, really the most difficult part of this was just trying to figure out the mechanism to satisfy title and tax credit compliance to make sure that we don't lose this project. Because there is these types of projects have to move forward at an expedited pace just to ensure that we don't lose the work for the community. So I appreciate everybody on the developer side of the team working on this as well as Mr. Mason putting in the long hours to figure out the other stuff with me, so.
That was excellent work. It kind of makes me think, in both the situations that we've talked, it's like when something, a project starts and some mistake was made, if the project had gone forward at the time, it would have been caught, but this has just been sitting and
Right.
festering for a very long time, and those are really tricky things to figure out, so good job.
What was nice is the institutional knowledge of the previous owner, because she was actually able to show that she had gone to the state and petitioned that, because when the assessor did this, her taxes went way up because she was now paying per lot. And she actually fought that and was able to demonstrate it wasn't, but the assessor never changed the legal back in the tax records, so.
Yeah, we should expedite, so we don't lose those tax credits as well, yeah. But, no, we thought of this, yeah, thank you. That's right.
So is this gonna work out for everything? We don't have to change anything as far as streets and anything like that?
No,
I mean, for that
so-
vacant area and stuff?
So the city, so just to be real clear, the access that you'll eventually see built and the utilities in there, because they're service lines, they are the responsibility of the developer to maintain. So unlike a city street, when you would do a subdivision where after a 2-year warranty period, the city accepts maintenance, in this case, because that's still a private access drive, all of those will remain private. That's why it's an easement versus a right-of-way dedication.
So they'll take care of all the contract work. And what about the utilities? We do have utilities in that area, right?
Correct.
I mean, because I know we bought a transformer or something.
Yeah, so the transformer is actually coming in off of North Avenue. They have 3-phase down there. And that's part of the next item we'll talk about with this project. But the transformer and then the tap feeds, the sewer, so electric comes in from the south, there's no gas on site for this project. Water will be completely looped through the entire site, and sewer goes to Camillus.
Well, wasn't some of that project, I mean, I don't know particularly this, but it seems like some of those additions out there were gonna be all electric?
They are.
Is this part of is this gonna be electric too? Okay. Yeah, I was just kind of curious. Thank you, Wayne.
I don't see a problem moving forward with this, just kind of going through it, like, and just for observation, if you did put a street through there, you'd go through someone's driveway. So I don't think it's feasible to do that, so.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. Glad you caught that. I guess you caught it, or.
So it was a title attorney in some big office building.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Good looking at it.
So just a couple of things to the clerk's office. First and foremost, thank you so much for writing C and D in such a manner that we don't have to read the legal description. Because I'm not as good as Mayor Grego at doing that. And secondly, to be perfectly honest with you, when I read these, I can't express with any certainty that this is actually doing what it's said that it's going to do. And so, not because I doubt that it is, but can you briefly explain the process that ensures that it does what it says it is, and who specifically ensured that?
So, a quitclaim deed is, you can file a quitclaim deed to your interest in a piece of real estate. That kind of deed is much different than like a warranty deed or a special warranty deed, right? And so the quitclaim deed is just basically saying, hear ye, the city has no interest in this piece of property. And from our records, we know that filing 5 was never filed. So the quitclaim deed, which is the first ordinance, says to the title company, okay, the city is 100% now acknowledged that there is no rights to that right of way by filing that quitclaim deed. So that's item 1. The second item, which is the easement agreement, what the easement agreement is doing is basically assuring the tax credit issuer that the city has demonstrated that we can provide utility service from Camillus Ave.
Okay, so it was more a process error, not a legal description error. No, the legal description not in contest then.
No, the issue the legal description of the warranty deed that they took possession of has a lot and block description, as well as the warranty deed from the previous developer to this developer has, the way the warranty deed is written is it has the 2.9 acres plus a lot and block description in the warranty deed.
So I guess who specifically is very, very certain that this is done properly?
The tax credit attorneys.
Okay.
Yeah. And when we've looked at it from the city standpoint as protecting the city's interest in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have no further questions unless. So entertain a motion on item 9C.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Ogletree and Shu. The vote.
Mayor, we need an introduction of the ordinance.
Oh, I was intending to do that. Well, who would like to introduce this, please? Would you mind introducing it?
Ogletree offered.
With the,
did that throw it
She offers.
okay, so the Ogletree for the introduction, motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll do the second.
Have all the names. Thank you. That would bring us back to the vote. My apologies.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes. Item D. Thank you for catching that.
So
no
this is
further
the
discussion needed?
No, so this will be for the utility and access easement now. And again, it's introducing and setting.
Okay, I'll read item D then. First reading of an ordinance authorizing and granting utility and access easement in the City View Heights Filing 3 and setting a public hearing at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 for consideration of said ordinance. Being there's no discussion necessary, I'll ask for an introduction.
I'll introduce again.
Ogletree, motion,
I'll motion.
Second.
and then Trujillo and Shu, and a vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes.
We want to thank not only Mr. Mason for all of the research that he did, we also want to thank Mr. Gearman for driving down here both to sit with Mr. Downs and I and make sure we understood this, which took some time.
I agree.
And then coming back to explain it to you and the public. So thank you both to Mr. Mason and Mr. Gearman for this solution.
Likewise, I'm grateful for that professional assistance.
Like
Thank
I
you.
said, you guys get some stuff that I've never.
Well, we probably have more of it, so we'll.
When Nick picks the phone anymore and calls me, I'm like, why isn't it calling me?
You need to change your number.
Yeah, that's
No,
true.
we don't want that.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
Yep, I'm gonna do this next one too. Sorry.
Perfect. There we go. Item E, consideration of an amended and restated economic development incentive workforce and housing agreement.
So this is the Housing Now Funding Award Agreement. This is an amended agreement with the MARC, and this is actually good news. The project award was originally for $120,000. Some of that was cash, and some of that was tap fee deferrals and like the transformer costs. Because of the tax credit deal, they're actually not able to take the cash from the city from the Housing Now program. So the way the amended agreement now reads is that it's just a fee waiver, and any leftover funds, which we anticipate to be about $40,000, would come back to the city. So they're not actually going to get a check like the other applicants do on any leftover Housing Now funds. At the end of this, this will actually be, any funds not used in the waiver will actually come back to the city because, again, the tax credit auditor was like, well, you have to, I don't even want to get into the complicated stuff around that, but they can't take money after they close on the tax credit deal into this, and that money comes at CO, so it wouldn't have worked for their capital stack, but the fee waivers definitely do help the project. So this is actually probably a net gain for the city, amending this agreement for the Housing Now program.
Does that create any problems for them as far as the money?
No, they can accept the waiver of fees, they just can't accept cash after the property closes.
And just for clarification, then the Economic Development Fund will be backfilling the utilities for these items.
Yes.
Any further questions?
No.
So, Michael, is there any concern that amendment may cause future issues or have some intended consequence on any upcoming projects?
No, as of today, the issue with this is that when they do basically the tax on the way tax credits work, this is really over my head, but I'm going to try to explain it. The way the tax credit deal works is that they close on the equity prior to actually starting the construction. So the tax credits, the sale of like the money that goes into the project closes prior to CO. The issue with our program, which I will just say I'm pretty stubborn, we wouldn't grant the money. The council, when we started this program, was the number one question you asked me is like, how do we guarantee that we're not going to lose money if we put money into projects? And the way we did that was we said that you don't get your money until you get a CO. I wouldn't relent on that issue, so that's why they're not able to take the cash on the back end, is because they're closing. And I hate to say it, as much as I trust the project, I don't think it's fair to any other applicants to not require that the certificate of occupancy is done prior to that. Now, we've always, because tap fees come on the front end of the project, right? When you pay your building permit, you pay your tap fees, and you pay for your external review, et cetera. We've done that with every other applicant, and we're covering those costs because there's a real cost that the city can control. But on the back end, the cash, I'm still pretty adamant, because we also have other applicants out there, that you don't get your funds until you actually have your certificate.
No, I appreciate the answer, and I would just say for the public record that since from day one, I remember that meeting very, very clearly. You stood roughly right over there under the speaker there. You proved yourself to give very valuable and timely advice, and I know we rely a lot on you, so thank you for that. And it's really nice to see in your council packet, expenditure required, not applicable. So that makes that part easy. So I think there's no further questions. I'll entertain a motion for item 9E.
So moved.
Second.
Trujillo and Shu. And the vote?
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Oh, yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trujillo?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes. Item 9F, consideration of funding donation request received from Los Animas County Department of Human Services and South Central Council of Governments. Who's going to
Sure,
present
so that'll be me. We received this request from the Los Animas County Health and Human Services. They made a similar request to the Board of County Commissioners. This is to backfill the SNAP program for the month of November. So SNAP program feeds approximately 3,000 people in our community. The The agency states that 50% of them are children, about 15% are elderly, and about 10% are physically disabled. The SNAP program has received in the past 3 days 40 new applications. So they are processing new applications. SNAP program is generally paid for in federal dollars that come through the state of Colorado to the county. They go onto a EBT card, which is used in grocery stores. This is not going to happen in November. The price that the county will be missing from the federal government is approximately $547,000 for the month of November. They have put together an online campaign asking for the community to help raise money toward $500,000. The Health and Human Services has taken $50,000 from their reserve and pulled that forward. Los Animas County has taken $50,000 from their reserve and pulled that forward. The request is for the city to join them in bringing $50,000 from our reserves to do that. The only fund at which we were able to do this is the general fund. As of Monday, the general fund has $14.8 million in revenues for the year and $16.1 million in expenditures. So while we are staying within our budgeted amounts on expenditures, we are overexpended by approximately $1.1 million this year. That is one thing for you to consider. The second thing is that I want to be really clear when you approve this that you're approving the backfill of the SNAP program only. So let me just make a couple of statements about that. We're not just doing food assistance for the community, as some of you have referenced in your council reports, like the Lutheran Church, who feeds the community. If someone were to approach you and say, I hear the city has provided a donation for food assistance, and you were to say, let me send you over to Los Animas County Health and Human Services where we have donated the money. Council of Governments, just for clarification, will be running the program. They would not be able to access it unless they were in the food stamp program, so they would need the SNAP program. So they would need to sign up for that program. So I just want to make that clarity so you understand, if approving the donation, that it is specific to a program, not general food assistance for the community. We did receive some late breaking news, and I was speaking with the director of the program, and it does sound like there's some loosening at the federal and state level. It does sound like there may be some backfilling for this program. However, that is not anticipated to cover these expenses that are lacking in November. It looks like that loosening of potential funding would come late in the month, and no guarantees of that. It just seems like it's moving that way. Do you have any questions for me that I might be able to answer about the request?
So, just, do you have any questions?
No, we're all on the same page.
I've spoken with all of you independently. Okay.
Any further questions?
No, I just wanted, we're, total that you have is 150,000.
That would be,
if
you do 50,000, that would be 150, and as of this afternoon, the community's raised 1,100.
What would they do with the other 400,000? If they're in a hole, and I don't know where they would get donated. Is there any way they could get? What other donations would they get? Do you have any idea where they would backfill that?
So they've launched the online request, and I've seen it come up on my phone the past 2 days. They've got $1,100 in 2 days from the community. I don't know, I can't speak specifically, Councilmember Shuta, where else they're targeting.
Oh, no,
I have seen many different Facebook pages listing food resources. We've had a couple talked about tonight.
Did the governor give some money here just recently?
So they've looked at $10 million that would come this way. The Assembly's been considering that. It looks like that will be set up as a program. We don't know yet whether that's going to be an allocation to each county or whether each county will be required to do an application process. While the state has considered that request, they have not actually laid out the way that that will be accessed. Once again, that is likely to take 3 weeks or so to get set up.
We'll be in December by then.
I have a question.
Oh, absolutely, sorry.
If somehow there, by some miracle, the government reopens and the funds are put put back into circulation, would we be reimbursed?
I very quickly asked that question and the answer is no. If the money comes from the federal government, it will go to the governor. The governor will decide how to distribute that. Likely when it comes to Los Animas County, it doesn't even go to the county coffer, it goes directly onto the cards of the people who are in the program. But I asked in several different ways and it was made very clear we would not be reimbursed from this. And I must say that we're not allowed to loan money out of the general fund. That is precluded, so when we give this donation out of the general fund, where we will receive some sort of backfill, that would likely get flagged in our audit. Anyway, we are simply prohibited from doing any kind of loaning of money from the general fund. And yet that is the only fund from which we could do this. We looked at economic development. This doesn't support growth or development, which that funding has to do. So none of the utilities can put forward the money. Tourism quality of life might be close, but there's no funding in tourism right now.
Well,
So,
I like the idea that we're doing something with the county. I
Okay.
mean, we don't generally work as well with the county as they'd like us to, and so I like the idea that we're working together to try to keep basically kids from starving.
So we were talking about there's a $1.1 million
There is.
shortfall. And we're changing that number by 5%, but we're making a really big impact is my hope in these people's lives that need this. So that far outweighs that. So I'm in favor as well. My question is, do you know the money that we're giving, the $150,000 total, that's
Yes.
after our contribution? That I suspect that won't get on those people's cards.
that is going directly onto the cards through
Oh,
the
they have the
vouchers.
ability to put that?
They do.
Oh, okay, I was
Through the
curious as
voucher
to that.
program.
Okay, so it will be as equitably distributed as is possible?
It will be.
Okay.
They will look at, the statement that they've made is that they will look at the other programs where they have assistance they can pull from and who might qualify for that, and they will mostly use this money to backfill those that can't receive money through other programs.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Is this just for November or November, December, or?
This is for November and or until it runs
Yeah,
out, which
okay.
is anticipated in November.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain the motion.
I got one more question.
Go ahead.
Just kind of general.
Yeah.
What would be our limit if this continued for a few more months? Would we contribute, what effect would it have on our finances if we contribute $50,000 for the next 4 or 5 months? Or
We would continue to go in the hole in the general fund. Right now, we've held back our expenses, and so we are holding to our expenses as budgeted because the general fund was budgeted in 2025 in the hole, balancing from the reserve funding. So we're staying within that with this 50,000. What would happen if we continually kept going back is that we would exceed the amount that was allocated from reserve funding to balance the general fund for this year. And we would have to likely do a supplemental budget appropriation if we keep going. So, and there's no guarantee that this won't, as we continue operations for the next 2 months, that we won't end up in that situation anyway.
Yeah, this money eventually comes back to us in sales tax too as well, because it also provides towards bottom lines of each one of the businesses.
Did I answer your question, Councilmember Shi?
yeah, it's just, we have to take care of our city. The city itself, because it's tough. And I know the county, they don't have probably as much either as that. And we do need to take care of the people out there, I understand that. Well, we also can't get in a pinch where we're depleting our emergency funds and everything else, because then what would happen if we have an emergency?
I would just say that this is one of the reasons that it's always important to balance that general fund at the end of the budget season without having to go into reserve, so that if you need to, for things, you have that ability. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
No.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for item 9F.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Ogletree and Shu, the vote.
DeBono?
Yes.
Shu?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes.
Trahell?
Yes.
Ogletree?
Yes.
Williamson?
Yes. Item 10, reports by the city manager and the city attorney. Have you guys flipped for who's going first?
No, chivalry is not completely dead. It's on its last gasp.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yes.
Mr.
It is how it's on the
Counselor.
agenda.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Our Chief Police Tracy Rolls, as Mayor Pro Tem stated, was sworn in by Chief District Judge and is now officially on the job. We're very excited about that. And we want to congratulate him. We also want to mention that his family was not able to be at the swearing in, so when they are in town over Thanksgiving or Christmas, we are going to do an official pinning here in City Council chambers with his family, able to meet the department and our City Council, so we'll be letting you know when that will happen. I also want to inform you, speaking of balancing the budget, I unfortunately want to inform you of the elimination of 2 jobs related to balancing the budget, and just make statements that the elimination of these jobs was not based on performance, desire, or respect for the work that was done, and that we do remain committed to these areas of priority and ultimate responsibility. But I do want to just, for the public, announce that we have eliminated the outdoor rec director position and also a part-time building maintenance tech position. And as you'll see in the work session on Monday, I will present a balanced budget for the general fund for November 18th. The city's open enrollment period is ongoing and will close next Friday on November 14th. Ms. Coleman presented to you on Dayforce earlier. She is overseeing that process. We have 150 employees that are eligible for coverage, so this is no easy feat to get everyone signed up. Also want to thank and recognize council for the approval in the budget. We have budgeted the $1,000 stipend for each full-time employee and the $500 stipend for each part-time employee. This is to cover that 17% increase in the insurance cost for their portion of the insurance, which is the 21%. So just want to point out that council has been able to help balance that, and that that's greatly appreciated by the employees, and we're seeing that as they sign up for their insurance. Our HR manager, Cassie Coleman, presented on the update to our payroll system tonight in Dayforce. We're looking forward to running that forward, and as we expect, it's going to give us some additional savings overall in payroll, but it's also going to give us some data. It's going to allow us to do some analysis on overtime hours, where they're happening, what's going on, do we need to look at how we deploy resources. So I think we're just going to be able to use that not only as an efficiency measure, but also a data measure. We've had a couple of great meetings with potential private sector partners, looking at some development projects with Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority. So we're going to schedule a work session early in next year, likely around February or March, to discuss how private and public partnerships work. And I just want to remind you that City Council is responsible for the development agreements that Trinidad Urban Renewal Authority enters into. So before we get into some specific locations and projects that we're working on, we do want to just do a work session with you to talk about how that would work and what the ways you could support projects from that standpoint, and then of course the private-public partnerships that you would have to approve. Convent and Church Street project is gearing up, and I want to credit our engineering department with 2 great public meetings held in the past few months. The latest one was held this week to inform and meet with any impacted businesses and individuals. Staff also had a separate meeting with the church. Speaking of Holy Trinity, which is located in the middle of that project, we've set up a mechanism where the church, the city, and the contractor will be communicating weekly about the events that are going on. This is important because if the church ends up having a funeral that has to be planned at the last minute, how they're impacted by those street closures is going to be important. So we're staying in touch with them. They have appointed Mr. Mike Valentine as their representative, so it's been fun to have Mike in the building, meeting with us from the other side. And we appreciate his work with the community in that way. Once again, we're making our way through the 2026 budget cycle. Last Monday, we spoke about enterprise funds. This next Monday, we're going to be speaking about the lottery fund, the economic development fund, the tourism fund, and the CIP fund. So this will be the last of our fund development discussions before we bring first reading of the budget, and that will come to you on the 14th, on Friday the 14th, for first reading on Tuesday the 18th. We'll then subsequently be talking about some reserve funding on the 22nd of November, and then final adoption on the budget on December 16th. And there will be some amendments between, some changes from November 18th to December 16th. Like we will have the final enrollment for insurance, and we'll have the final depreciation schedule. So there'll be some minute changes, but we are expecting to balance the general fund as well as some of our supplementary funds. In addition, this next Monday, we're going to be bringing forward a tourism ordinance to talk to you about a conversation that started in August. It's the proposal of the repeal and replace of the lodging tax ordinance. The items that we will be bringing forward are a reflection of the feedback that you gave us. So one, the ordinance will be changing the fund to a pay-as-you-go. You may remember we talked about changing to pay-as-you-go rather than an estimation of taxes collected. We'll also be providing a limit to the amount of funding that can be spent on operations. That doesn't exist in the current ordinance, and we've seen operational costs grow every year and marketing costs decrease. So we're going to be putting a limit on operational costs. We're also going to be eliminating the existing percentages of funding and moving to a more flexible funding mix that meets the needs of where we are at the time in our marketing strategies. We're going to basically spell out that the fund can be used on activities that support tourism and activities that increase quality of life. But we're not going to ask for any percentages to be based on that, so that we can meet the moment, so to speak, as we need to, as we plan our marketing in the future. And finally, we're putting these proposals in front of you, asking council to decide on the issue of keeping a lodging tax advisory board or eliminating it. So that's going to be the decision point for you to start thinking about. We're going to basically have the ordinance that reflects everything you've told us, and I've just listed those items. But we had a mix from you and feedback, some suggesting that this become a staff function of implementing the tourism tax, and some saying that you wanted to see a traditional tourism board or keep the lodging tax board. So we, once again, this is policy question, so we don't have a position. So be prepared and look at the ordinance. We'll have plenty of time to talk about it next Monday.
I have a question if I could.
Certainly.
Will this council be voting on that, or will it come in?
Our plan is to vote on that through this council. This started under this council. We would do the work session. My plan is to do the work session on November 10th. We'll come back with an ordinance on the 18th and introduce first reading with final adoption on the 16th. And I think that's important for the main reason is we have a budget that is attached to these changes, and we need to adopt the budget and be ready to implement strategy on January 1. That doesn't preclude the new council from amending that down the line.
Sure.
No ordinance is set in stone. So, the south side bathrooms are moving along very quickly, and we're expecting them to be done before winter hits us. Lots of great feedback we're getting on that project, so thank you. Just a reminder, our Christmas cash program is launched, so get out and shop and save those receipts. Come see city staff and turn that in for Christmas cash. And then I just want to congratulate everyone who was part of the election. I want to thank our city clerk's office who worked with the county to plan that coordinated election. I want to thank staff who helped provide information that we passed on to candidates as they're going through the process. We want to thank the candidates themselves, all of them, for working with the city staff and attending our candidate orientation. And of course, we want to recognize that running for office is really tough, and it's not an easy thing to do. So we compliment anyone who has the strength to stand up and do that. And then just say we're looking forward to working with those that were successful in the election. And then finally, today marks my 6 months with the city. It's flown by quickly, and I want to thank
She's off probation.
I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity. it's been a wonderful 6-month opportunity, so thank you.
Before you go, Les, I have just one
Yeah.
quick question. And I apologize if I missed it, there's a potential I did. Is LEA on
It
schedule
is.
still? Okay.
It is, and I got some great pictures from Mr. Just today about the concrete pour, and it does not look like a mud pile anymore. We are on track, and it is still on January when it's gonna be done.
I can't believe you omitted that from your.
I know I did, sorry.
If you could provide a more complete report, we'll.
I know, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah.
Okay, so settle in, because my report's gonna be a
Okay,
little bit long.
perfect.
Just kidding. So to just begin with where Tara left off primarily, and that is just congratulations to all the people who ran in this election. And I want to emphasize the point that democracy really only works when you have choices. And this was a really good group and a lot of people running, that's wonderful. So congratulations to all the people who participated in the election, those who won and those who did not prevail. The last thing I'm going to say is regarding the swearing in of the new police chief. Well done, Mayor Pro Tem Williamson, in your involvement in that, and Ms. Marshall as well. It was a wonderful event, and it was really nice for me because it was a blending of all things municipal and all things judicial. So it was just a really nice event, and well done to everybody, and congratulations to the new police chief. But that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that would be item 10. So item 11 will be executive session. There will be no decisions, votes, or discussion following the executive session. So with that, thank you everyone for coming. We'll take a brief recess while we vacate the chamber.